we expect in Silent Hill, and what makes this different than other horror films coming out this Halloween season?
This is nothing like any other horror movie you're going to see. Most horror movies these days are in a house or in a school, you know, the creaky doorway upstairs. This is a horror movie that takes you into a whole new world. This is a story of a girl who has to choose to step into her nightmares, basically. So we have, it's beautifully played by Adelaide, Clemens, a young Australian actress. She's the girl who carries us into this world. She has to go and find her father, played by Sean Bean, to choose to step from reality into the world of Silent Hill, which is a world of fog and ash and strange sounds, and then suddenly the world peels away and it's a world of monsters and terrifying nightmares. And that's not something you see in modern horror movies anymore. This is the fantasy element of horror. It's a nightmare version of horror. And I think that's really unique, and it's a big movie with great 3D, loads of scares, lots of special effects and great monsters.
Speaking of nightmares, because this film deals with so many of them, what are some of your scariest nightmares you've ever had?
I'm not telling you any of my horrible secrets.
Oh, why not?
Because somebody might make a movie of them and then I'll be frightened.
I'll tell you mine.
We haven't got enough time for that.
Let's talk about Da Vinci's Demons. So that's a project that's coming up, so I heard this is going to be kind of risque. What can we expect to see, and do you think it will change people's perception of Da Vinci?
Well, I've just been working with David Goyer, the writer of the Batman trilogy and Man of Steel, on his new TV show, Da Vinci's Demons, which is a really, really interesting take on young Da Vinci. As a young man in Renaissance Italy, how he comes to terms with his genius, how he sees the world in a way that nobody ever sees it before. And, you know, it deals with the politics of the time, but also this sort of metaphysical view of the world, of what could there be magic out there that only he can understand. And it's kind of sexy, exciting retelling of Da Vinci's story. So the cast is terrific. The guy who plays Da Vinci is amazing. So I just think that when it comes out next year, you're going to be really blown away with what David's come up with. And I had the great pleasure of directing the season finale, so there's lots of action in that. Sword fights, there's some very sexy moments in there, and some terrific imagery, which I don't think people have seen before.
What's some of your top 3 favorite horror films?
The Thing. John Carpenter made an amazing movie. I like Alien. I think is a fantastic sort of just scary movie in space. You know, the greatest boo of all time, and of course The Shining as well. I mean, something like Paranormal Activity just took horror movies into a completely new place in the last few years, and I really love what they did there. But me, I'm an old school monster movie fan. I like to see a creature in there. All right.
So Silent Hill originated as a video game.
Yeah.
So what do you think are some of the challenges bringing something from a console to the big screen?
I think one of the problems is that people just think that storytelling in games is the same as storytelling in movies, and you know, without getting too kind of esoteric about it, they're different processes. You know, when I'm playing a game and I'm a gamer, I'm engaged in that story. I'm making choices. It's just me alone telling the experience in the story. The movie process is where you get a bunch of people together and you're telling them a story. You know, I'm the guy by the fire in ancient times, the flickering flame, saying, this is a story I'm going to tell you, and I'm engaging on that level. So to adapt a game to do that process is a real challenge, and also knowing that the game is really beloved by a lot of fans, and they're looking for their favorite bits to be included. You know, I have to consider that, but at the same time, I've got to figure out, I've got to write a story which makes sense for everybody, not just Silent Hill fans. So this movie does 3 things. It's a sequel to the first movie, which I loved. It's an adaptation of a game, and it's a story that works all by itself as well. So, you know, I just wanted to make a movie which people will be entertained by.
Nice. There's a lot of things to think about there. So you're a storyteller and a gamer, so I have to know, top 3 favorite games.
I would say my top game of all time is Half-Life. 1 and 2, absolutely awesome. I got to tell you, Skyrim was pretty incredible to play recently. And, well, Silent Hill.
Good answer. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.